A 1975 report from the Church Committee should have been a simple security summary. But a single line in those archives reveals biological testing protocols conducted by intelligence agencies. The document suggests Operation Sea Spray was not a search. It was a clandestine experiment involving human subjects without consent. Why did this truth never enter the official narrative of the Cold War? The archives point toward deep tensions between national security and scientific activity. The 1975 Church Committee report reveals major concerns regarding biological programs run by intelligence agencies. Researchers found a clear conflict between security objectives and the scientific activities undertaken by government agencies. CIA FOIA documents from 1965 to 1970 indicate requests for information concerning undisclosed research protocols related to psychological and biological operations. These requests reveal intense activity operating under the guise of national defense. Black Vault archives suggest internal attempts to conceal the results of biological experiments conducted in military installations. Testimonies from former scientists and CIA agents indicate that the initial goals of Sea Spray were purely military. But the results quickly shifted toward unethical psychological experimentation. Field agents revealed that the biological samples used in these protocols were often collected without the informed consent of the participants. The records show a stark dissonance between security policy and the reality of the methods used. But what was the true scope of these biological manipulations? The archives suggest that government reports after 1975 minimized or ignored the long-term effects of these psychological and biological manipulations. The documents indicate that the consequences of these operations were documented but concealed. This creates a contradiction between the policy of transparency and the reality of the events. Those who accessed these files suggest that the true costs of these hidden biological experiments far exceeded official estimates. The records point to a divergence between science and policy. The results of the initial biological tests were often disregarded by commanders in favor of immediate strategic objectives. The documents reveal that the existence of these major contradictions proves the institutional will to hide the potentially disastrous consequences of biological manipulation. The archives suggest that information about collateral effects was actively falsified to maintain the cover-up. Tensions between security reports and CIA archives suggest that the secrecy surrounding Sea Spray was not a simple matter of classification. It was an active policy of concealment. The documents show that the methods employed contradicted established ethical standards. Those who analyze this data suggest that institutional silence served as a form of preservation for the hidden reality. But at what cost was this cover maintained? Until now, one could believe the secret of Sea Spray was merely a matter of military classification. But a single line in the Church Committee reports poses a fundamental problem. The documents reveal that objectives rapidly shifted toward unethical psychological and biological experimentation. The contradiction between the official security discourse and the documentary evidence indicates a far darker reality. If the results were intentionally concealed, what exactly was hidden in the 1975 reports? What if this dissonance was not a simple reporting error, but the very structure of a control system? The archives suggest institutional silence was not an omission. It was a calculated strategy for risk management. Researchers who analyze these data points suggest that the reality of the biological manipulations was so inherently dangerous that it had to be isolated from official communication channels. The remaining mystery is how this split between mission and ethics was codified within the security protocols. The documents point toward a parallel network of knowledge. This reality existed outside the official narratives of the Cold War. This was not the only program the archives chose to bury. The final 1976 report details a massive reallocation of funds dedicated to securing the experimental sites. The archives show that the consequences of these biological manipulations were evaluated. Yet, the data concerning human damage was systematically erased. The document indicates that those responsible actively minimized long-term effects to maintain the cover story of the military doctrine. If these biological protocols were the standard, what motivated the need to conceal not only the experiments but also their outcomes? The question is no longer about what was done. It is about who benefited from this silence. This program is officially closed. What replaced it, that is the next chapter.